The bodies of 3 American soldiers killed in Jordan will return to the United States Friday. President Joe Biden will join the families for the transfer of their remains. The soldiers died Sunday in a strike by an Iranian-made drone, and Biden has blamed radical Iran-backed militant groups for the attack. Iranian President Ibrahim Raisi issued a stern warning Friday against any possible retaliation by the United States. For more on this story, France 24's expert in terrorist movements, Wassim Nasr, joins us here on set. Hello there. Biden has not given any details as to what this response could be, although he has said he's decided on it. Why haven't we seen any sort of retaliation yet?
Well, actually, almost a week passed already. And we know that those factions or those militias, either in Iraq and Syria, took some measures in order to avoid a potential American strike. We know from sources in eastern Syria that many facilities were evacuated, that some officers from the Revolutionary Guard also evacuated eastern Syria. So that's on the one hand. On the other hand, we know, for example, that the United States isn't targeting Iranian directly, but Israel is. Today, they targeted Iranian assets in Damascus. On the 25th of December, they killed one of the most prominent leaders of the Revolutionary Guard in Syria. And on the 20th of January, they killed all 5 officers of the Revolutionary Guard, so Iranians, and one of them was the head of intelligence for Syria. So on this side, Israelis are doing this part of the job, if you may say so. But also, the United States is using what is called plausible deniability. While Iran is saying it's not us, it's those groups that are doing it, well, the United States is profiting from this to say, okay, we're going to target those groups, we're not going to target Iran directly. So in order to de-escalate, actually, knowing, for example, that the Iranians got from Kataib Hezbollah, those who are responsible of the killing of the 3 Americans, to issue on the 30th of January a communique saying that they will stop targeting American troops, and without forgetting that the Americans warned the Iranians before the Islamic State hit in Kerman a few weeks back. So channels of negotiation and of de-escalation are still open between Tehran and Washington.
Mm-hmm. Now, this attack where these soldiers died, it took place on a small U.S. outpost in Jordan. What is this base used for exactly?
Well, we'll see it on a map, actually, and this base is part of a web of facilities in Jordan, Iraq, and Syria. And here it is, and it got targeted by a drone, and it is just facing another base, very important American base in Tanaf in Syria, and we'll see it too, knowing that Tanaf was targeted 10 times since the 7th of October, and so many times by Iranians or militias before, because the aerial corridors that were used by the coalition, so by the French, the British, the Americans, in order to attain Tanaf, were also used by the Israeli military at some point in order to hit targets in eastern Syria. And this is why, for example, Mattis, the former Secretary of Defense under Trump, stopped this use of those corridors by the Israelis in order to avoid retaliation by Iranian militias. And so responding and hitting those bases, as they say, to back Gaza isn't total nonsense, at least from their point of view.
Okay. Now, these were the first U.S. service members killed since the October 7th Hamas attack, but there have been other bases and facilities attacked. You mentioned one. What are some others?
We'll have to look at the map, and we'll see today we are up to 185 attacks on U.S. facilities since the 7th of October. We're not mentioning what happened before. Those that we see on the map are the latest in red, the latest attacks. In blue, American response to those attacks. And of course, as we see, Al-Rukban and Jordan were 3 military were killed. And we see on this map how the geographical scope of activity for Shia militias. And this came after the war on terror, and this came after the war on the Islamic State, because that war was strategically blinding for Washington and for the West, where actually they were allied to those militias in order to oust the Islamic State from its territorial control in Syria and Iraq. But those militias, once the Islamic State was defeated, didn't put down arms, and On the contrary, they kept on evolving and cannibalizing the Iraqi state and the Syrian state. And today they go back to the original messianic ideology in fighting the United States. And so the price is being paid by the United States because it was short-sighted to think that those militias can be reliable, maybe even punctual allies at some time. So Iran had a grand strategy, which is outplaying now. And one last example, we know the first defeat of the Islamic State in Iraq in 2014 was in Amerli. Qasem Soleimani was in Amerli under U.S. air support. Finally, the Americans killed him in 2020.
Wassim Nasr, thank you so much. Really interesting reporting. Appreciate it.
Thank you.